Good afternoon, everybody, and welcome to another webinar from Banyard Solutions. We're going to be slightly off of our usual tack this time round. We're usually looking at it from a point of view of the e-permitting system, but this now ties in with the culture ebook that was issued some time back. That we've had over 130 downloads of that document. So we're really just going to put these into a series of 3 webinars. And the first one is looking at what we call getting C-level buy-in to the concept of a health and safety culture. Okay, so what's the problem that we're actually looking to try and solve? Everybody involved in health and safety, like yourselves, understands that there's a link between workplace safety and having good levels of workplace safety and high levels of productivity. Why is it that senior execs don't often see this? And also, everybody in health and safety has a safety of employees and contractors as their key focus. Yet we find that the activity is probably the most paper-dominated activity within the work environment. Everything from RAMs and permits, checklists, training records, toolbox talks, risk assessments, and so on. They're all paper-based. So if we can increase the productivity of the health and safety team, this will mean more time to focus on health and safety issues, and therefore leading to what we will see as better corporate productivity and cost savings. Again, why is it the senior executives don't see this? The root of the problem is, why does a business buy anything in the first place? And a business will buy for only one of 4 reasons. The first reason is that investment will make money for the business and therefore give a return on investment because it will make more money over the period of time. The second reason is the investment will save the business money, more money over a period of time than the investment taken, again, giving a return on investment. The third reason is the investment has to be made because you've got to meet government or legislative requirements. And there's no choice as it's a legal requirement. And the fourth one is the investment improves compliance of the business in conforming to government or legislative requirements. So they're the 4 reasons: make money, save money, don't have a choice, and makes things better. And how do these things fit? You'll see that the first 2 are really opportunities. The third one is actually a threat. People can actually go to prison if things are not done properly or you don't meet the requirements. And the fourth one is what we call a nice to have. And it's nice to haves is this fourth area that a lot of health and safety activity sits in. And so therefore it's deemed at the top often as a nice to have. So having seen why businesses buy, let's look at how they buy. Investment decisions are usually made on a hierarchy of needs. The strongest one is this: a mandatory investment requirement. If it meets government legislation, it has to be bought, and there's no question about that. Secondly, was it budgeted for in the current year? If something that you need is not budgeted for, it's unlikely that it'll get through the process and you'll be able to get what you need. Thirdly, what will the impact of this investment have on the bottom line? Will this actually generate revenue for the bottom line of the business in terms of either generating more revenue or saving cost? What is the return on investment, and does it fit with the corporate return on investment requirements? Many companies will have a stipulation that says ROI must be a maximum of 12 months before investment will be considered. So you have to understand what the buying requirements are within your business to see whether or not it would fit. The next one is, what's the cost? How much of the available budget does it require? And that ties in very closely with the 6th one, which is how many projects are actually chasing the money available in the budget, and how does the return compare to an equivalent spend on other projects? So if your project requires a certain amount of money and generates a certain return, if that same return can be generated for maybe 4 or 5 other projects, often attention is given to implementing many projects to generate the same amount of saving. Seventh one is, how does the business currently manage the problem the investment addresses? What's the current status? Within health and safety, you do a good job. And therefore sometimes the question is asked, why would I need to spend money to not necessarily improve what we're doing? That's what we pay you to do. And the final one is, what impact will the investment have on the conduct of the business? How will this change the way that business is done in terms of reputation in the marketplace and in terms of performance? So all these factors have a key role in deciding how a business will buy, and you need to assess whereabouts does yours sit on that hierarchy. So where does this put health and safety solutions? Getting investment is not easy or straightforward. As a company, as I've already said, you'll already be compliant. You have an effective health and safety management process. If you didn't, the company wouldn't be there. You'd have been taken to court and the company would have been probably wound up if you were not compliant. As a health and safety team, you're already doing a good job, or you wouldn't be there. You work all the hours that God sends to make sure that people stay safe and that they get home at the end of the day. Anything you'll want to do to improve your processes will add cost to the existing health and safety costs of the business. You get paid a salary to do the job, not an hourly rate. I've had various health and safety people say to me in the past that they will work as many hours as is necessary to ensure that when they go home, the jobs that are going to take place on site the next day are properly prepared and everything will be safe. Excuse me. So therefore, more hours will be put in to make sure the job gets done. But at the top end, when they look at the performance of health and safety and it's good, they don't recognise the fact necessarily that you're spending more hours than you need to spend, i.e. more than 9 to 5, to get the job done. And therefore, they don't identify with the savings that you could get in terms of your time as against the cost of putting a solution in. It can be looked at as a nice to have, more of an insurance policy. Providing nothing goes wrong, any cost that gets put in is just a cost. If something does go wrong, then that cost put in can actually save some of the resultant accident claims and so forth. So very often health and safety solutions are looked at as an insurance policy rather than something that will generate cash for the business. So getting investment into health and safety is as much about the health and safety culture of the business as it is about meeting the requirement for the investment. So what does a health and safety culture look like? Which one of these is most like your organisation? We have an extensive health and safety policy, training programs and detailed documentation covering every aspect of health and safety at work. Regular checks are taken by our team to make sure these policies are adhered to, and violations are logged and raised at board meeting level, depending on the severity, and corrective actions are agreed and the information is circulated to all staff in the weekly health and safety bulletins. Any transgressions of this policy can lead to disciplinary action against the individuals concerned, and we're proud of our health and safety record and the low number of incidents per annum. This approach ensures that the business is compliant with all health and safety regulations, people know what's expected of them, and it helps keep our insurance premiums down. So that's one type of an organisational environment with regard to health and safety. Or does yours look like this? Our objective is to ensure that everyone comes to work here, goes home safely at the end of the day. We constantly review all of our health and safety aspects across the business and encourage our staff to be proactive in bringing all concerns and suggestions for improvement to the attention of line management and the health and safety team. Every concern is assessed at management or board level, and the results and actions that we've taken will be fed back to the individual and circulated to the entire business with the objective of achieving continuous improvement. And we operate a no-blame culture. We treat every near miss as seriously as it would be an incident. A near miss, of course, is an incident that didn't actually happen this time, but the same circumstances could result in an incident next time unless we take immediate action to mitigate that risk. So which are you, a 1 or a 2? If you're a 1, then I'm going to be honest with you, the task of getting investment in health and safety is going to be almost impossible. In a one, health and safety has been delegated down from board level to a dedicated team with a remit to ensure the company is compliant. A KPI could well be achieving reductions in insurance premiums based on the number of recorded H&S transgressions per annum. There'll be a health and safety budget, typically based on last year's spend. If you don't spend it, you'll lose it. You're already doing a great job and you have an excellent health and safety record. Why should we spend thousands on systems that enable you to do the same job when that money could be spent on something that generates bottom line revenue? Health and safety is often seen by many employees as a necessary evil. How often have we heard the tut, it's just another health and safety issue, from people on the shop floor? The only time you'll get budget is if an incident happens. But the trouble is you're working all the hours God sends to ensure that doesn't happen in the first place. If you're a two, then your task of getting investment is going to be difficult, but not impossible. In a two, the board has a vested interest in continuous improvement and actively participates and encourages everybody in the business to be a part of that culture. Everyone realizes that reduction of risk is more important than fixing the barn door after the horse has bolted. And suggestions for improving the culture through adoption of systems will be listened to right to the top. You'll still have to go through the corporate hoops of securing the budget and showing ROI, etc., but you are in the game. So how do you compete in the game? To get the message you want heard at the top level, you've got to speak and think like they do. You've got to think strategy. You've got to speak the same language. You've got to focus on what's important to them, make the message tangible and easy to understand, tap into their natural competitive spirit, team up where possible, and become a leader. This sounds very much like a sales training course. In essence, it really is. You need to sell what it is that you need to people that don't necessarily understand your needs. So you need to think strategy. C-level executives live in a world of strategy and vision, not one of policies and procedures. After all, that's what they pay you to do. You've got to show how what you're proposing affects the big picture and the future direction of the company. Demonstrate what you're proposing will have a positive impact on performance. If you don't, the chances are they'll consider the issue not worth their time and delegate it down to that black hole for corporate ideas. For example, there are plenty of accounts of how companies, big and small, have improved productivity, reduced incidents, reduced accident claims, reduced insurance premiums, and increased profits through health and safety. Unfortunately, many of these start with a fatality, and there are examples that you can see from the blog posts that we regularly generate where this is actually the case. You need to speak the same language that they do. Communication is an obvious thing. If you don't speak the same language as the person you're talking to, they're never going to understand you. So steer clear of using jargon that you would use in your normal daily health and safety work life. Talk about things they're interested in, and their interests are things like business performance, compliance, reputation, cost, profit. Don't moan about the past. Don't be disparaging about the existing health and safety environment. Be enthusiastic about the future and what you can bring to that health and safety environment and the changes that you can make. For example, by having a better safety management process, we'll be even more compliant, reduce the risk of incidents, control who is on our site, where and when, and be sure that everything's been approved before work starts, and eliminate the queues of contracts at the front gate every morning that cost both time and therefore money. And the highlighted words indicate the type of things that they will respond to and will understand better than talking about general health and safety jargon. You need to focus on what is important to them. If you don't talk about things that are interest, they'll hear you, but they won't listen to you. And there are two different things. Hearing and listening are very different things. C-level people are not interested in the detail. Again, that's your job. You'll want them to see the value in your proposition so that they'll take up the gauntlet for you and fight with you, not against you. So you want to focus on things like impact on the strategy and their vision for the company, the benefits to their business, and the cost, or more exactly, the return on investment. E.g., to help you achieve your corporate goal of being the best and safest company in the industry, a better permit management process will help minimize the risk of incidents, reduce accident claims, increase productivity through lower absenteeism and lower insurance premiums. We could do this and achieve ROI within 1 year based on last year's costs. Please note I've only used the permit management process here as an example. It will apply to any area of health and safety. Obviously, I understand and we understand this a lot better, so we can talk with it with a lot more authority. Make the message for them both tangible and easy. Don't talk about what you've done, talk about what you've achieved that helps meet the corporate goal. About things they understand, productivity gains, cost savings through the actions you've taken, and reduced accidents in the workplace. C-level may know what they need to do to engender a better health and safety culture, but they don't necessarily know how to do it. Spell it out to them and what they need to do, make it easy for them to support you in actually doing the work. So the key objective here is you will do the work, you will implement what is required, but what you definitely need from them is their support. So if they can visibly support your proposal across the company, then our health and safety team is equipped and motivated to deliver those gains in productivity and cost savings that we've identified that will change in the process. We can do this, but we need your top level support. So in essence, the buy-in that you need from C-level at that point is support. It's not money, it's support to help deliver a better set of processes for the business. It's always good to support these things with published evidence, and there are a number of evidential things out there. I've just picked a few that, again, you can get from our regular blog posts that are published. Alcoa, they reduced lost work days from 1.86% to 0.125%. And in that same period of time, profits went up 5 times. That is something that definitely grabs the attention of C-level. Sainsbury's, sickness absence rates fell by 17% and reportable incidents fell by 28%. Again, key bits of information that will get the attention of C-level. British Sugar actually cut accident rates by 60%. And there is a fact out in the industry as well that every £1 spent in health and safety can generate £10 in productivity improvement and cost savings. This is something you need to focus on and identify where you can make these savings. A key thing with British Sugar that's evidenced in the article on them is that in reducing their accident rate was a review of their permit system. It was just a paperwork exercise that they had, an end in itself rather than a means to an end. People believed that because they had a piece of paper in their hand called a permit, that they therefore must be safe. That whole culture needs to change within an organisation, and everybody needs to be aware that they should be attentive to all health and safety issues. You know that. I'm not preaching to the converted here. But what we need to make sure is that you need to bring on board everybody within the organisation into that same health and safety culture. It's always good to tap into the competitive spirit of managers. Everybody, all managers, right up to CEO, are competitive and want to win. So they're always open to anything that will give them an advantage. The key thing about C-level is that they're looking at the competitive arena with respect to their business competitors. They want their company to be seen as leaders in every field. If you can make that point to them that the things that you want to do will give you that competitive edge, then they will start to listen and start to pay interest in what it is that you're proposing. So a strong health and safety record is no exception. Lowest incident rates, greater productivity, and therefore more profit and more competitive in the market. They're key words and key statements that will grab the attention of C-level. The H&S record is a result of a strong culture, not the ability to tick more boxes and fill in more sheets of paper. So you need to change from that paper environment to a culture environment. It's always a good thing to team up. To get buy-in at C-level, the more middle managers that you can get to support your culture proposition, the louder the message will be. And they'll add benefits from their activities that you may not even have considered, and therefore strengthen the case even more. For example, in the production area, productivity gains through lower absenteeism, better staff retention, and lower training needs, they're all benefits to the production environment. In finance, lower costs through lower insurance premiums and lower accident claims. They're all benefits to the finance department. In HR, lower recruitment costs, lower training costs. In marketing, even, it gives you a differentiator. It gives you a differentiator in terms of promoting your business to the marketplace. It gives you PR opportunities, opportunities to go for health and safety awards and have the badge put onto your headed note paper and outside your front door and a certificate in the entrance hall. And even in sales, it can be seen as a bid differentiator, showing that you are providing a level of safety that is the best in the marketplace, and therefore customers will see that as a positive advantage in working with you. Because of the cost savings, it also gives sales the potential to be competitively pricing as well. There's a saying, a choir produces a louder and richer sound than a solo artist, no matter how good that solo artist is. And you need to think about becoming a leader too. So to achieve the objective of developing a really true health and safety culture, you need to be an internal salesperson as well. And it's not just at C-level. At C-level, you need to sell corporate strategy and corporate benefits. To your peers and other managers in other divisions, you need to sell divisional advantages and divisional benefits. And to the staff and employees of the organization and even the contractors that you'll bring on site, you need to sell personal safety and personal benefits. So it's not just a one-level sales activity that has to be covered here. It's 3 levels. So this has to be reflected in the way you conduct yourself for staff. So we're starting with staff here, and that will be the subject of the second installment of this webinar series of how do you get staff on board rather than telling them. You engage them and make them participate. So you need to provide a constructive, supportive, attentive, and positive attitude at grassroots level, and this will then be recognised higher up at then the department level. Visibility of your contribution to their teams will then start to endear you to the respective managers and for them supporting your ideas. And that will then give you more voices to the ultimate level at C-level. So with the divisional support, you can get multiple voices supporting that initiative and gaining the C-level support. With this in place, it makes it easier to make the next case for investment in systems to take your health and safety culture to the next step. So in essence, what we're saying here is you may feel that you need to buy something to help your health and safety environment become better. But unless the culture is right, just going to ask for budget is not necessarily going to result in the win that you need. Sometimes you need to go and start at a deeper level and develop a culture in place, get the support of the executives and your peers and the staff in that whole concept. And then when you need to add something in there that will then extend the productivity gains and increase the cost savings, it makes it easier to go with the investment request to C-level. So that's given you then an overall insight into where we believe it's necessary for health and safety cultures to be developed within companies, and how a good health and safety culture can make things better for you, the health and safety managers, for your employees and staff in terms of coming to work in the morning and knowing that they're going to be going home safely in the evening, and to the executives also in knowing that they have a leading business and one of the best businesses in that industry sector with regard to health and safety. And because of that, they will also be seeing huge increases in productivity and also reductions in the overall cost. So I hope you found that of interest. You can, of course, still access the Health and Safety Culture ebook. As I said at the beginning, we've had over 100 downloads of the book. So this is a reason why we've actually just put this into a short webinar series. You can, of course, download this webinar in the next day or so. You'll be given the link so that you can then pass this on to anybody else within your organizations as well. My contact details are there below. If you want to contact me, ask any questions, please don't hesitate to do so. And you can see more in-depth analysis on the culture ebook and some of the case studies and blogs that have been written at our insights page on our website. So thank you very much indeed for your attention, and I look forward to hopefully speaking to some of you very soon. Thank you very much indeed.